Okay, so let's have a look at question 4 from the handout that I gave you for revision of Learning Outcome 1.11, calculating a wage slip. So this one's a little bit different from the previous questions we've been looking at. The previous ones having more kind of short questions, where this is part of a long question. So you now have to fill in the wage slip. In the previous ones, we've been given the majority of the information just to calculate the gross pay and the total deductions. This time we have to fill all the information in here in relation to the information they've given in the question. So the employee Karen Doyle, PPS number, the week ended. So your basic pay. So in this question, it tells us that her basic pay is $600 per week and her commission is paid at 2% of sales. She works at 38 hours. This week, Karen had a sales of 40,000, so that's going to be used to calculate this commission of 2%. She pays PAYE of 20%, PRSI of 8% on her gross salary. So that means her gross salary is her total salary. So that's going to be your basic pay plus her commission, just like we did in the previous questions. She invests 60 into savings and pays 18 for union fees. So they're kind of fairly straightforward. They're just going straight down here. And her annual tax credit is 3,300. So you need to be careful with that. Okay, that's her annual tax credit. We're doing this for a week. So you need to divide that by 52 to see how much she pays per week. So let's fill in her wage slip here and see how we get on. So her commission, her Karen Doyle, I'm missing her basic pay, just bear with me for a minute. So her basic pay is going to be 600. Her commission, we're going to calculate down here. So her commission is 40,000. Multiply that by 2%. So we need to find out how much is that. So that's going to be 40,000. Multiply that by 0.02. So our commission is going to be 800. So our gross pay then is where we add these two together. So add your basic pay and your commission. So we're going to put it out here, just like we did in the income statements and the state of financial position. We do our calculation in one column and then we bring the figure across to the next column. So our tax credits then. So we said that our tax credits are 3,300. So 3,300. That's for the year. So you divide that by 52 because there's 52 weeks in a year. So we're going to round that to two figures. So her tax credits are 63.46. Now her tax credits is going to reduce the amount of tax that she pays, and remember your tax credits will reduce her PAYE in this question itself. Sometimes it might reduce the gross pay, but in this question here it's going to reduce the PAYE. So we then use that then to calculate her gross pay. So gross pay in the question is she pays 20% on her gross salary. So we calculate her gross salary to be 1,400. So she's going to calculate that by 20%. So her PAYE is 280, but she's not going to pay the full amount in 280. Why? Because she got tax credit. So it's going to be 280 minus her tax credits of 63.48, so 63 €48, and that's going to give you a figure of, so €216.54. So PAYE is €216.54. So the next one that we have to calculate is her PRSI and her USC. So once again, that's based on her gross salary or gross pay. So 1,400. Multiply that by, what's her rate? 8%. So 1,400. Multiply that by 0.08 and it gives you 112. So her PRSI is 112 and USC is 112. So next we have savings. So she invests €60 in savings. Her union then is going to be 18. And that's it. So the next figure that we calculate is our total deductions. So remember, total deductions are these four added up. So it's going to be 216.54 plus 112 plus 60 plus 18. And that's going to give us a figure of 406.54. And your net pay then is your gross pay, take away your total deductions. So these two, so 1,400, take away 406.54, and that'll give you our gross pay, which is 993.46. Okay, so a couple of definitions then that are part of this question then that you need to be able to explain. Okay, you're talking about your gross pay. So this is pay before deductions. You could also add in there, it's basic pay plus overtime or basic pay plus commission, just to show your understanding of the term. Your PAYE, so this stands for pay as you earn. This is the main tax in Ireland, and the more you earn, the more you pay. To show extra understanding then, you could put in the rate of 20% and 41%. They're the rates of pay or rates of PAYE that the employee will pay. Your tax credits then, this is a reduction in the amount of tax you owe, subtracted from your PAYE or your gross pay. So every solution that we looked at so far is we're deducting it from the PAYE. Your net pay then, so this is pay after deductions have been subtracted from the gross pay. You could throw in there some examples then to show your understanding. So likes of your PAYE, your PRSI would be deductions. And then commission then, this is a method usually for salespeople. It's when they receive a percentage of their sales that they make for that period, and it's usually added on to your basic pay. So we had commission in this question here, so we showed how to calculate that. And that's how you answer the fourth question on the handout that I gave you for revision of 1.11.